Hello, Starshine. My name is Liz, and this is my channel, Simsational Stories. If you have not seen my videos before and you enjoy this one, please like and subscribe. And maybe check out my Facebook page, where this whole thing began, as well. All relevant links are in the description below, and of course, if you're a Sims player and you'd like to download any of the characters featured in my stories, just search the hashtag Simsational Stories on the Sims 4 gallery. All original content is created by This Is Not Eric. Alrighty then. So, welcome. And what is up, Buttercup? Are you having a good day or a bad day? Whichever your answer, please allow me to distract you from your life and tell you a story, a Simsational story. Before I begin though, I'd like to issue this blanket content and trigger warning. The following story is just Sims, hey. I'm not going to apologise for treating them terribly, if that's what I've done. But I do want to assure you now that although I mean absolutely no harm, I completely understand if you feel unable to consume my content. Many loves, and we will catch each other on the internet elsewhere. Okay, so now we've gotten that over with, let's go. Today's story is from Audre Whitman, the Audacious Maid, and we're at chapter 2. If you have not seen the previous chapter and would like to catch up, there are playlists available on my channel so you can hear the entire story in chronological order. The rest of us are going to move on from where we left off last time though. So without further ado. Married military man Anton Lewis had been having an affair with his maid Audre Whitman for just over 6 months now. She was not just some passing fancy though. Anton really felt something for the young girl. At 19 years old, she was just over half his age. He was 32. And while he couldn't deny the appeal and ego boost being with a younger woman gave him, it wasn't just about that. Things with Anton's wife, Anastasia, had been strained for a long time. Anastasia was an aspiring actress whose career was beginning to take off, and that kept her busy. Their relationship had also suffered from her many failed attempts to fall pregnant over the last decade. She blamed herself, and Anton had given up, which in turn had left Anna feeling as if he agreed that it was her fault. Audre made Anton forget all that stuff though. She was so different to Anna, so warm and inviting as opposed to cold and calculated. Everything with Anastasia felt like it was part of some stage production, as if she hadn't left her work and script behind her. But things with Audre were more simple and natural. They flowed easily, and Anton didn't feel any stress. Meanwhile, Anastasia had had another idea. In her desperation to have a child, she started researching adoption. The process wasn't even that difficult. All they had to do was apply online. There weren't any home visits or inspections. Everything was done on the computer. And her hand hesitated only for a second before confirming their application. She hadn't even told Anton about it. But when she did tell Anton what she'd done, his reaction wasn't at all what she was expecting. He was horrified, not delighted. How could she take such a big step behind his back? He was so angry with her and furious at a system that allowed one person in a marriage to apply for them both. Had she even thought about what this would do to their lives? Anastasia and Anton Lewis argued over the proposed adoption more than they'd ever argued over anything else before, including Anton's affair. Anna had been more than ready to forgive him back then, as long as he agreed to her conditions. But Anton wasn't so quick to get over her transgression in turn. And didn't all hell break loose when she said that? In the end, Anton won the adoption argument though, and to Anastasia's complete and utter despair, he cancelled their online adoption application with as few simple clicks as she had done to apply in the first place. He didn't even seem conflicted about it. This was obviously what he wanted. She couldn't understand it. Didn't he want a child with her? All Anastasia had ever wanted was to be married to her soulmate and to raise a family with him. She believed that Anton was that soulmate.
he was the only man she'd ever loved. But after a decade of marriage and no children, and apparently no adoption either, she was slowly having to come to the devastating realization that she may never be a mother. When Anton told Audrey about the whole adoption saga, she couldn't believe it. What kind of a wife tries to make a decision and a choice like that without consulting her husband first? It was insane. Anastasia obviously had no respect for Anton as man of the house, and Audrey couldn't believe that Anton hadn't left her on the spot. He should leave her, really. Why didn't he? Anton explained to Audrey that it was precisely because of how mad Anastasia's actions were that he wasn't sure he could leave her just yet. He was going to. Of course he was. He didn't love her anymore, and all he wanted was to live free with Audrey. But he had to be careful of Anastasia. Her mental health wasn't sound, and he didn't want to be responsible for anything awful she chose to do if he didn't break things off slowly and carefully. Audrey just had to be patient. They would be together soon. That's what Anton told Audrey anyway. But the truth was that he was feeling conflicted. Ever since he had cancelled the adoption application, Anastasia had been very contrite and careful. She was so disappointed, and she didn't try to hide that, but she also made it clear that although the adoption hadn't been right for him, she still wanted to have his babies, and she would die trying. Anton knew that she was only trying to seduce him in hopes of conceiving a miracle pregnancy, but he still found Anastasia hard to resist. She was a beautiful, sexy woman, and she knew exactly what he wanted in the bedroom. It was so different to being with Audrey, who always demurely let him lead the way. And Anton enjoyed the contrast. Anastasia was a woman, whereas Audrey was still a girl in so many ways. As that summer went on, Anton found that his marriage was stronger and better than ever, as long as you ignored the fact that he was having an affair. Anastasia had landed a recurring role on The Burbs, which helped give structure to their routine, and Anton was able to sneak around with Audrey behind her back quite easily. Audrey and Anton shared a passionate clandestine relationship that was all the more exciting due to its hidden nature. If he was being honest with himself, Anton loved being able to have his cake and yet eat it too. Having two women who loved him with all they had was a massive ego boost, and he loved knowing that he was able to keep them both satisfied. Anton still cared for Anastasia and wanted to keep her happy, and yet distracted too. She was still depressed about not being a mother, and he knew that she was lonely for something little to love. It was with this in mind that he got her a present, what he probably should have got her months ago. It was a puppy! A tiny little white baby puppy with bright blue eyes and the happiest nature in the whole world. That Anton told her was named Snow. He knew she'd wanted a baby, but wasn't this better in the end? She could get all the love she needed from a puppy, and her career wouldn't suffer. And so the nursery was repurposed as a puppy room for Snow. She was definitely a bit spoiled, but who cared? Anna wanted her little girl to be happy. She had never been so invested in anything other than her career before, and Anton let her go as mad as she wanted, never saying a word about the cost. She needed this, and he knew that. With Anna's attention diverted elsewhere, Anton was able to get up to more escapades with his mistress Audrey than ever before. One time, he even snuck her into the house while Anastasia was there. Audrey slept in the spare room, just down the hall from the master bedroom, and Anton stole down to see her in the middle of the night. Audrey was well past feeling guilty now, and enjoyed the adventure as much as he did. All these fun and games ended the day that Anastasia came home unexpectedly early from work and caught them right in the middle of the act in the first floor bathroom. There was no way to defend it. It was far too clear to everyone what was going on. For the second time in their marriage, Anastasia Lewis had walked in on her husband cheating on her with another woman, and enough was enough. And that brings us to the end of Chapter 2 of Audre Whitman, the Audacious Maid. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can tune in soon to hear the next chapter. Or like I said, look us up on Facebook. Bye!